Alright, hey everyone at WWE community watching this video right now. It's 123, I'm Lewis, and here's my first episode of a new series called List It. Yes, it does sound like a rip-off of WWE's List This, I think that's what it's called, and it kind of is, except I'm going to talk about things WWE.com will not talk about, and I'm going to get into different ones I'm going to do on like wrestling topics. This isn't going to be scheduled, I'm just going to do it whenever, because with wrestling topics I can schedule that and then do a couple random videos in the week, whereas with this, if I was to schedule this too, I could only really do a random video every couple of weeks, and I want to do some more random videos, so I'm just going to kick off my first episode, and the first thing that I'm going to list, and I'm going to do one an episode, just to make that clear. The first thing I'm going to list in this episode, and well, the only thing I'm going to list in this episode, that's going to always, but the first thing I'm going to list in the whole series, it's my top 5 wrestlers of all time. Now I'm going to try and get this done in one take. And these are only WWE wrestlers. If you put in TNA, it's going to get really confusing. Maybe I'll do a TNA one time. So, yeah. And just to state, my main wrestling interest started around 2004. So please keep that in mind during the video. Although I've seen lots of tapes and stuff. Like, round about when I started watching it in 2004, 2005, 2006, I saw a lot of tapes that my brother had recorded. And also, of course, I went back and discovered and researched a lot of it. I actually think I'm, as a lot of people are on the internet, getting close to almost expertise on wrestling. Maybe not quite. That would be a bold statement, because it's a huge, vast amount of interest. But I know quite a bit, and I know, and I'm starting to get into a lot of things about it, but I'm not going to talk about all that right now. I'm just going to talk about my top 5 wrestlers of all time. So, number 5, RVD. And again, keep in mind, I started watching around about 2004. But mainly, the fact that he could do all these big jumps, the 5-star frog splash, and all these cool kicks, that was what interested me about him. And sure, after exploring the internet, I found a lot cooler stuff, like the ECW stuff that he did. But also what I mean by that is, I find people who could do better kind of kicking stuff and better kind of high-flying stuff. But of course, when WWE was the only thing I could see back then, it really was great. Even before I could see TNA, I mean, after I saw TNA, my mind was completely blown because of the X Division. But before that, when I just saw WWE, RVD, he was a huge thing, and he looked really good. Until around about 2007, when I think he left, he was one of my favourites, and I was so happy when he won the WWE Championship, because I was really in favour of WWE. I've never liked John Cena because of my older brother kind of influencing me not to like him, I guess, and I don't know, even since I was a little kid, I've never been going to the faces as much, and I have supported heels, as you'll find out later in this, but yeah, he also was interesting, simply because he won a singlet, where a lot of the guys, such as Austin, Rock, and Triple H, wore trunks. Okay, so number 4 is CM Punk. Now, I liked him since he started at ECW. Again, in 2006, I didn't go on the internet and explore everything, so I didn't know him from his indie days, although now that I went back and saw him in his indie days, I really like all that as well, and I'm sure I would have liked him even before he was in WWE then, but a lot of people who like him now, like kids, did not like him in the ECW days, but I did, so then I still, in some way, see myself as a bit more of a better CM Punk fan. I think if you just started liking him this year, you cannot really consider yourself a huge CM Punk fan. What I liked about him is just, he had a certain way of wrestling which was really cool. His tattoos looked really cool, he looked really rugged, and also the straight edge thing which made him interesting, and you thought that there could be stories to come about him, so you always were interested in him. Number 3 is Kane. So I actually knew who Kane was. I actually knew Kane with his mask before I even knew Kane without a mask. To explain that, when I started to watch wrestling, I mainly watched SmackDown because it was my favourite brand. I don't know why I didn't watch Raw. I think it was just time differences, really, and the fact that I just liked SmackDown more. And if I did watch Raw, it would be the main event with Cena and Edge. So I didn't know much really about Kane. I have not really seen Kane without a mask, and I remember one day just asking my brother who this guy was, and he said, "That's Kane." And I was like, well, I thought he had a mask, and the only reason I knew that he'd worn a mask is because I've seen videos, and of course I found out all this stuff. I really started to watch Raw during the Kane and Edge storyline, so it was really a good storyline to get into Kane without a mask, and I started to like him with that as well. Then he was in a tag team with Big Show, I also liked that, and he had his heel trim. Then I just see him as a guy in the crowd, a lot, and I just do not see him as anything special anymore, especially after things happened. I remember I liked him when he returned with his mask. I also liked the period where it was him and Undertaker and Paul Bearer, and I also liked the period where he was in ECW, but the rest of the times between the Big Show feud and now, I just saw him as part of the crowd, and I wasn't that interested in him. Okay, number 2 is The Rock, and I love The Rock. Again, at the point I started watching the wrestling, it was tapes that I saw, and I thought he was great just because the way he wrestled, and just because he won, he was so good. Then I discovered his mic skills later on, and how funny he was, and after seeing him return in 2011, I decided The Rock really was one of my all-time favourites, and I really didn't like The Rock. I don't know, he just seems to be those kind of guys. He catches your eye, and his charisma is just really good, and you enjoy watching him, and that's what makes him one of your favourites. Number 1, and this is a surprising one, is Rey Mysterio. Now, I think you can just, if you think for a minute, when I was watching wrestling and everything, as I said, I mainly watched SmackDown, and also I was between the ages of 5 and 9, because I watched it between the ages of 5 and 9, then I stopped watching it for a while. I didn't choose to stop watching it, I was actually not allowed to watch it, just because I had probably taken it too far of actually doing it myself. But then I started watching it again back in the Nexus storyline. So yeah, you can imagine in my first stint of watching it, Rey Mysterio I really liked. First of all, because he was small, and when I'm more average size now compared to all my friends, but back then I was small compared to a lot of my friends, so I saw that as one point. I also thought that it was really cool with the mask and everything, and he also did high flying, and again, I went on the internet, I've seen TNA after that, and I thought, well, these guys can do a lot more than Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam, but I don't know, I still find Rey Mysterio really interesting. If I can come back and do this in 5 years, I'm sure most likely CM Punk would be the top of my list, and Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Cody Rhodes, or all 3 of them might even be on that list. But you know, I saw Rey Mysterio and I really liked him back then, and I saw him as a hero, and right now he still tops my list. I haven't been interested in him since I returned to start watching wrestling again, but he still hasn't just been edged off the top. I mean, I don't think The Rock can edge him off the top, because he won't do anything. He will do big things, but he won't do anything significant to improve his win. Kane, again, he can't. CM Punk is the only guy I can see doing anything on there to get ahead of him. RVD, not really either, that he could do anything to get ahead of him. He's like Kane, he's still in the business, but full time, but he just can't really do anything. But then again, as I said, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Cody Rhodes, next 5 years they can do a lot, and I think they will probably get ahead of him. Okay, so finally I'm going to talk about others that I missed. There was Jeff and Matt Hardy after recent drug use and stuff like that. I just got off of them. If I had made this list maybe a couple of years ago, I would have put Jeff and Matt Hardy on there, because I like Jeff Hardy for the high flying and the clothes he wore. I like Matt Hardy. I don't really know why I like Matt Hardy. I just always saw him as a bit of an underdog, and I liked him. But after all this drug use and the fact that they got quite boring in TNA, I don't like them. Matt Hardy, I'm interested in, and I think he's a stupid guy. I do see himself turning himself around, but I just don't like him. Jeff Hardy bores me now, and I just don't really like Jeff Hardy. I'm sorry, I just don't find him as interesting anymore. Steve Austin, that's surprising that he's not in my top 5, just the fact that, I don't know, I mean, even though Steve Austin's not going to do anything, I think if Ray and RVD and Kane fall more, Steve Austin would come in. It's just the fact that, I don't know, I didn't relate to Steve Austin, and I just didn't like him that much. Jericho missed out just due because I think if he had been in the company in longer than he has actually been, he's been in it for years, as you know, but if he hadn't taken as many breaks and those breaks hadn't been as long, he wouldn't be in this list, probably ahead of Kane or RVD. But I don't know, he just because he's not been there. I mean, I like Jericho, but there's just these 5 guys I like more. I think Jericho maybe would have been like number 6, with Austin number 7. Again, leaving out Undertaker, just because I never bought into him as much. I always like Kane more. The reason I didn't really like Undertaker is first of all, I find it when they had the urn, it was made to be kind of magical. I didn't like that. It just took out the realism for me. And also, I don't know, I like him, don't get me wrong, but I just never liked him as much. And I forgot to mention here in my script, but Kurt Angle, he was close to it as well, but the fact that he's not been in WWE for a while, and also just the fact that, I don't know, again, I don't relate to him as much, that'd probably be the same reason. No Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, simply because I didn't like them as much, but also because Shawn Michaels, he was a bit of an ass back in the years before. And I don't know, again, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, those are just two guys that I liked, but they weren't my favourites. I think that's the only way I can explain it. And Bret Hart, I just don't like him for personal reasons, which I'm not going to get into. So thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like this video. Remember to add it to your favourites if you wish. I mean, I'm not, even the likes and favourites, you don't have to do them. You don't have to do them. Just do them if you feel like. If you like the video, just like it. It doesn't take much. If you really liked it, favourite it. And if you feel like you want to leave some responses, just go and click and write a comment. No hate, obviously. I always say that. But just, you know, creative criticism is fine. And also, if you wish, you can share the video as well, and subscribe to the account, and subscribe to my account, 123M Lewis. I also have another account, YC Mickey. You'll find that, and you'll find out all the stuff about and other videos and other stuff I've done. And I also want to remind you, if you're thinking that you would love to be part of WWE community, well, you could. If you have something that you can record your Xbox or PS3 gameplay with, and you have an editing program, it should be fine. Now, you can do montages. We prefer you do commentaries, but if you can't and you don't want to, then I guess montages are fine. So thanks for watching, guys.